Well, I can relate to that. We're still on the way. Today we're going to watch Denzel Washington talk about Fall Forward, and we're going to react to it together. I haven't seen it yet, so let's watch and see what he has to say.
Fall forward. This is what I mean. Reggie Jackson struck out 2,600 times in his career, the most in the history of baseball. But you don't hear about the strikeouts. People remember the home runs. Fall forward.
Okay, I love it already. Like he is talking about the power of, like, we never hear about people's mistakes. We always see the end result. We don't hear about their failures. We just see like the end and what they created. And when we do that, it's easy to feel like we're failing because we're not there yet. But if we're failing forward or if we're falling forward, we're still on the way. We're still on the way. All right, what else does he have to say?
Thomas Edison conducted 1,000 failed experiments. Did you know that? I didn't know that. Because the 1,001st was the light bulb. Fall forward. Every failed experiment is one step closer to success. You've got to take risks, and I'm sure you've probably heard that before, but I want to talk to you about why that's so important. First, you will fail at some point in your life. Accept it.
How many of you have failed? I'm sure we all have. So I'd love to share in the comments below, like, what was one of your biggest failures, or at the time seemed like your biggest failure? When I think back, so many failures that I've had that at the time seemed so embarrassing or just so deflating. And you know, one of the things I did is I majored in psychology and communication. I remember being in college, majoring in communication and doing this. I was like literally standing in front of a camera. They used to, you know, they would video us and we would watch the video together in front of the class and everyone would get to critique us. And I felt like such a failure. I was like, here I am, you know I'm supposed to be on stage someday. I don't know why. And I just felt like I was stinking up the room. I felt like I was the worst speaker possible. And it was awful. And I failed regularly in that space.
You will lose. You will embarrass yourself. You will suck at something. There's no doubt about it. In the acting business, you fail all the time. Early on in my career, I auditioned for a part in a Broadway musical. Perfect role for me, I thought. I'm in the wings, I'm about to go on stage, but the guy in front of me, he's singing like Pavarotti. He's just, he's just going on and on and on. So I come out with my little sheet music, and it was Just My Imagination by the Temptations. That's what I came up with. So I hand it to the accompanist, and she looks at it and looks at me and looks out at the director and was like, but the next part of the audition, he called me back. The next part of the audition is the acting part of the audition. So I'm like, hey, okay, maybe I can't sing, but I know I can act. So they pair me with this guy, and again, I didn't know about musical theater. And musical theater is big, so they can reach everyone all the way in the back of the stadium. And I'm more from a realistic, naturalistic kind.
This is so interesting. So he shows up, and he's there for this musical piece, right? He's singing, and it sounds like he can sing okay, but he's really excited about the acting part. And I think so easy in business when we're wearing so many hats to forget what our strengths are, and to focus on our weaknesses or to focus on our mistakes and feel stuck there, when this is such a great reminder that we all have strengths and we can bring people around us. Like there's this other guy that's coming on stage with them. We can invite people around us who help us in the areas that we're weak. Those team members that can do the things that we can't do, or the things that we shouldn't be doing, so that we can focus on what we're really good at.
Kind of acting where you actually talk to the person next to you. I didn't get the job. But here's the thing. I didn't quit. I didn't fall back. I walked out of there to prepare for the next audition, and the next audition, and the next audition. I prayed. I prayed and I prayed.
Well, I can relate to that. How many times in business have we all prayed, right? How we all asked for help, how we all leaned into faith. And, whatever your faith might be, whatever you believe in, we've leaned into something bigger than us. Because if you're still in business, I guarantee you there's days when you've had to lean into faith that what you can't see is still possible. That just because it hasn't shown up yet doesn't mean it's not coming. That just because you haven't succeeded yet, that it's not going to happen. And we know, like he shared, going back, he's delivering this speech, this is a graduation at the University of Pennsylvania. So it's to a group of people that are about to step into the world. And I wish I would have heard this speech. I wish he would have come to my university to share the speech, because I think we were all so afraid to fail, right? And as business owners, we can be afraid to fail. But instead of failure, he's calling it, falling forward. How do you fall forward? How do you stop looking at it as a failure and looking at it as a practice, looking at it as just the next step in your journey? And he says, I continued to fail.
I continued to fail and fail and fail. But it didn't matter, because you know what? There's an old saying, you hang around the barbershop long enough, sooner or later you're going to get a haircut. So you will catch a break, and I did catch a break. Last year, I did a play called Fences on Broadway. Someone talked about it. Won the Tony Award. And I didn't have to sing, by the way. But here's the kicker. It was at the Court Theater. It was at the same theater that I failed that first audition 30 years prior.
Wow.
The point is, every graduate here today has the training and the talent to succeed. But do you have the guts to fail? If you don't fail, you're not even trying. I'll say it again. If you don't fail, you're not even trying. My wife told me this great expression. To get something you never had, you have to do something you never did.
So quoting his wife, to get something you never had, Denzel's wife said, you have to do something you've never done before. You never did, right? And think about all the times in your life, right? From the first time you rode a bicycle, to the first time you went to kindergarten, to the first time you stepped into high school. Like, these were all things that you've never done before. You had no idea what to expect, but you were kind of pushed into it. And when you're in business, there's not always someone who's pushing you into the next step, right? Like, as business leaders, as visionaries, we have to look forward and see the next step, and we have to step in. We have to push ourselves into the next step, even when we don't want to. I feel like my whole business career has been spent doing things that I didn't necessarily want to do. I didn't necessarily think I could do, but I was willing to learn. I was willing to try. And when you're willing to learn and you're willing to try, that's the power. That's where the universe will rise up to really meet you in the middle. And that's where you'll see your greatest success.
Motivational speaker, he made an analogy about this. He says, imagine you're on your deathbed, and standing around your deathbed are the ghosts representing your unfulfilled potential. The ghost of the ideas you never acted on. The ghost of the talents you didn't use. And they're standing around your bed, angry, disappointed, and upset. They say, we came to you because you could have brought us to life, they say. And now we have to go to the grave together. So I ask you today.
Wow, that's sad. That's so powerful. Thinking about all of your untapped potential, standing around your deathbed, saying to you, we were there. This talent was waiting for you. This thing was waiting for you. This opportunity that you didn't say yes to, this was all there. What would have happened if you just would have said yes? Where would you be? What would have unfolded?
How many ghosts are going to be around your bed when your time comes?
So his last question, just how many ghosts are going to be around your bed when your time comes? So as you're listening to this in this moment, definitely share in the comments below, like, what is this inspiring you to do? Is there something you've been thinking about taking action on that you haven't yet? And what is that thing? I'd love to hear about it. And stick with me, because up next, Michael Scott teaches the fundamentals of business. And remember, your 2X is waiting for you too.